stop what you're doing. Because we're coming back to the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
Oh my God!
They went a little crazy with it, and I appreciate it.
Now let's get back with Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
I threw this up a little while ago, but just to see what people's kind of reaction was to this reality, to this fact, to this bit of truth, in that the concepts of capitalism, socialism, and communism, which get used a lot on social media and a ton on Fox News, especially, those were ideas, systems, concepts designed and sort of launched during a time when there was less than 1.5 billion people on the planet. There were no cell phones. There were no personal computers. The concept of capital, for example, capitalism literally gets its name from having a head of cattle. That you are the guy with the stuff. By the way, somebody just sent me something really cool. I'm gonna yeah.
Capitalism comes from the cattle. I love that.
Yes, having a head of cattle, and that again, socialism, communism, and capitalism, these sort of ideas are like broad stroke cartoonish ideas. Like anarchy. Like, really? Anarchy is not an actual thing, right? People know that, right? We had anarchy. We lived in caves. We clubbed each other to death. Some people shared and other people went, oh, they're sharing. Let's go take their stuff. Do you think our systems of government and stuff just kind of formed accidentally? These modern democracy, especially. Yeah, modern democracy is a giant bonsai tree that took forever and still constantly requires constant gardening, pruning of stuff that gets too far off the res and helping us maintain a healthy plant, right? And it is incredibly frustrating for people to hear these folks fighting for those words instead of the programs that they care about. Social Security is not socialism. I'm sorry, it isn't. It's got the word social in it. That's as far as it goes. And if you're going to argue that socialism and Social Security is socialism, then you have to agree that the Nazis had National Socialist Party, Socialist Workers Party. Those words are meaningless to our current form of taxation, of providing programs to people, our support structures. They just they're not up to it. So, there are, that I think is part of our conversation too, is that we seize complexity and move away from sort of the ridiculous broad strokes, that the words are more important. You got to fight for socialism because if you don't fight for socialism, it sounds like you're not fighting for Social Security, which is not socialism and is a much bigger program and has a lot of value to it and can be managed and improved on and tweaked over time as our economy changes, without people going, oh, dear God, it's they're going to blow the whole thing up, or you can't change it at all. Yes, democracy is a bonsai. I love the metaphor, Hal. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's what it is. It's it's the idea of being a constant gardener. That's what governments do, because life is always changing. No, and nothing we experience today is, good God. You could show outdated technology from the 90s to someone in the 60s, and they could take over the world with it. And effectively, individuals have. We're a little slapdash with it, and we use it in kind of a punk way for social media and the like. But the computing power that's available to every human being on the planet is extraordinary. It's mind-bogglingly large, and it's just going to get more so. There's no talk about not being able to put the toothpaste back in the tube on that one. But somebody tossed a piece of news my way, which I thought was really kind of cool. South Korea has effectively agreed with the United States on a draft declaring the end of the Korean War, according to South Korean Foreign Minister Chung Eui-yong, as reported by South Korea's Yonhap news agency on Wednesday. Speaking at a news conference, Chung said U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken had reaffirmed the progress, saying that both sides have effectively reached an agreement on the draft. U.S. State Department spokesperson said the U.S. has no hostile intent towards North Korea and is prepared to meet without preconditions. Look at that. And by the way, I'm showing this little clip on there's a little piece of news. Let's see if I can find this. Yeah. All of a sudden, while this is happening, and I'm sure there's some, side door conversations happening, nobody is saying they're getting love letters from Kim Jong-un or that they think he's beautiful and that they're trading insults until they start hugging. Just normal, functional diplomacy. North Korea's Kim talks food, not nukes for 2022. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un capped off his 10th year in power with a speech that made more mention of tractor factories and school uniforms than nuclear weapons in the United States, according to summaries by state media on Saturday. North Korea's main goals for 2022 will be jump-starting economic development, improving people's lives as it faces, quote, great life and death struggle. A great life and death struggle, Kim said in a speech on Friday. The meetings coincide with the 10th year anniversary of Kim. Kim has used previous speeches around the new year to make major policy announcements, including launching a significant diplomatic engagement with South Korea and the United States. But summaries of his speech published in North Korean state media made no specific mention of the United States, with only a passing reference to unspecified discussions of inter-Korean relations and, quote, external affairs. The domestic focus of the speech underscored the economic problems Kim faces at home, where self-imposed anti-pandemic border lockdowns have left North Korea more isolated than ever before, with international aid organizations warning of possible food shortages and a humanitarian crisis. This is a huge step forward, and it will, like most of the stuff that will happen during the Biden administration, will be shrugged off by the mainstream media if they notice at all. And Republicans will pretend it's not happening. Fox will pretend it's not happening, and they will go, we had strength before, and now we're weak. Get ready for that whole storyline nonstop. But the reality is that the normal perfunctory government work of getting stuff done is happening every day, all day long. And I've said along the lines of my commitment to a new radical optimism. And by the way, it's really just about talking about my radical optimism more often, because that's how I live. Because I kind of had to, because you have to understand, when I left to go to LA to find work and all that kind of stuff, everybody was like, yeah, it's not going to happen. Even though I was gainfully employed at the time. I had a game show I was doing. I had more work than most of my contemporaries. And yet everybody was like, nah, and sooner or later you're going to tuck your tails between your legs and come home. And, you should probably just bail on it. And I called the 90s the Sisyphus years, as many people know, as I trudged through that reality. But that's what it takes. And every victory I've ever had in my entire life, and Johnny, you're a marathon runner. Would you say that your success, the successes that you've had, came out of magic or incremental work?
It was always incremental work.
Right. Day after day, sticking to a schedule, building, expanding on your ability, raising your cardio level and your distance and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Working on technique, improving technique again and again. That is so valuable, and yet it gets kind of it gets dismissed by a lot of folks. And that's got to stop. You can have incremental progress, or you can do steroids. And there's a lot of people screaming for steroids these days when it comes to political action, without any recognition for the side effects. The negation of respect for incrementalism, doing the daily work, getting up every day and trying and hitting it again and hitting it again and hitting it again, is dismissed so frequently. It is I would argue, the hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin of the left. Why do I need to get healthy and get vaccinated? I'll just wait till there's a problem and take horse paste. It is so incredibly valuable that we learn. And by the way, there are great leaps forward that happen all the time, in science especially. You know how they happen? After years of incremental change, built on everything. Everything Elon Musk is doing that everybody's oohing and ahhing about is based on data that NASA got since 1962. NASA's been stacking the reality of getting into the atmosphere, getting, breaking past gravity, balancing rockets, all the stuff that they did years and years and years and years, make the stuff that happened with Elon Musk look really fast. But it ain't. It's all built on that previous knowledge. It's all built on that previous work. And all the people that put in day-to-day, stressful, sometimes futile work. And disrespecting that is, in my estimation, gross and immoral. We got to take a break. We'll be back right after this. By the way, infotainmentwars.com, that's my YouTube channel. You can subscribe there. I recommend it. We're trying to hit 28,000. We're going to get there. We almost hit it by New Year's Day, but we're pretty darn close. And twitch.tv/HalSparks is a great way to support the show. Just go to twitch.tv/HalSparks. If you're an Amazon Prime member, you can subscribe, and it doesn't cost you a dime. We'll be back. I'm going to have to jump on GarageBand and start sawing something together. This is the Hal Sparks Show. Wow. And then a guitar note, and then progressive, and all that. Yeah, it's going to be good.
Hey, Hal, did you mean something like this?
This is the Hal Sparks Show. Wow.
And then a guitar note, and then
progressive, and all that.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
The Hal Sparks radio program, mega worldwide.
Yeah, it's going to be good. Welcome back to the show. Johnny, do you have a New Year's resolution that you want to talk about? I mean, you might have one, but it might be TMI.
Yeah, it's recovery based. It's just trying to lean into acceptance as let that be my first. My go-to reaction to things, rather than butting my head against things. Yeah.
Huh. All right. Yeah, I like that idea. I see where you're coming from. I like it 100%. My New Year's resolution is to butt my head against things more often. So,
well, that's why you're where you are.
But no, I'm kidding. That's I do my New Year's resolutions on my birthday because it's my new year. Right. But I do one every year at New Year's, just to have one forever, like a single one, instead of like rebuilding all the stuff. And the nice thing is that I get to re-up my my workout stuff on my birthday as opposed to on January 1st, like everybody else who goes to the gym for the first time when, the first 2 weeks of gym. Now it's different because of COVID and Omicron and other stuff in the last couple of years, that is going to be a thing again where you're like, all right, I'm going to get fit January 1st. And then you go there and it's like packed for 2 weeks. And you're like, all right, I'm going to take 2 weeks off. Then I'm going to start because that's when there will be Smith machines available and stuff. Like it's going to be jacked for a while. And so I do like the fitness ones are best on your birthday, I find, because it's different from everybody else's and you don't have to go up against that. Unless your birthday is January 1st. Then I guess then it's a problem. But still, this one for this year is, I've done this one before and I found it very effective, which is 1% improvement everywhere, which is sort of in many ways a mindfulness promise to myself.
That newscaster did a great book, 10% Happier.
Mm-hmm.
From the dude who had a panic attack on the air.
No, I don't know that one.
I forget his name. I'll find it real quick. But it was pretty amazing. He literally had a panic attack on the air. He was like a big ABC guy.
Wow.
Yeah.
and I've experienced those mainly because my character on Queer as Folk would have gotten them, and he gave
Sure.
them to me. I caught them from Michael, and I
That's
got rid of them,
horrible.
which I'm very happy to say. Yeah, but it was that was a crazy year. That was when you think you're dying of a heart attack about every 4 weeks
Yeah.
for about 6 months. Fixed it with impromptu yoga was the key. There's a bunch of things that I did, breathing exercises, yada yada. But the best part about it was because you know what yoga is, and can I spring it on everybody? You know what yoga is? It's twisting your body. It's stretching while twisting your body into positions where you can't possibly breathe in your upper chest, which is what stresses you out. Fear, like fight or flight, is all breath in your upper chest, where you make a quick and dirty oxygen exchange. And your body, if you're in an emergency, it's great, but it doesn't last very long. You'll get lactic acid buildup and all that stuff. But if you breathe down into your gut, it's better for you. Well, that's what yoga poses do. Effectively, they turn your body in such a way that your chest is constricted so you can only breathe into your belly. And that's really fantastic. So that's what helped immensely. And I would do it anywhere. I would just rando, like if I started to feel one coming on, I was at the grocery. I'm like, who's the dude down dogging in the cookie aisle? That was me. But it worked. And it solved it forever. I have not had a recurrence, and nor do I expect to. But the idea of having like a 1% improvement all the time in all the things that you do, and there's a little bit of making life a dance, because it, I've always, the tales of the samurai and sort of the Japanese mindfulness about like tea ceremonies and that kind of stuff, taking every single beat seriously.
Just being deliberate.
Right. So adding that level of deliberateness slowly but surely to every part of your life to where it becomes natural, so that your walking becomes a dance, your posture becomes good normally, as opposed to like, oh, I've got to wear something or I've got to constantly think about this. Just that slow, light, constant reminder. The word sin in the Bible, which is often equated with evil, is actually from an archery term that also is the root of sine wave, where things waver. And to sin in archery is to be just off the mark. And the way you fix it is not with drastic action, but with minor corrections, regular, clear, minor corrections. And so that's my, it's sort of like living in the front of your head instead of the back of your head, away from your lizard brain and more in your prefrontal cortex. How tribing, somebody was like ready to hold it.
I was just reading
how
that.
tribing dragged down 60 feet in a lake, then untangling yourself and swimming to the surface and live to tell a story. That's your yoga in full force. I have a similar experience. Many people may or may not know, but I over the course of living next to the creek in Peaks Mill, I dragged 6 people out of it, and another person out of the pool in Frankfort, at the city pool in Frankfort, Kentucky, where we used to go swimming. Technically 2. The kid I actually had to pull out. There was a kid a little bit younger than me
We
who was
just learned
drowning.
that Hal is the only person in Peaks Mill, Kentucky that knew how to swim.
Right. Well, the weird thing is there's rapids. From where our house was, it was a bend in the creek, and there were rapids just below it. So everybody would stand in the shallows above the rapids and fish, because the fish would be around the rapids trying to catch stuff that, got sucked through there. And there was a big sinkhole kind of place in the corner of right before the rapids. And it was like a tumble dryer. It would just, if you fell into it, it would just roll you. And over time, I yanked 6 people out of that thing. We eventually hooked up a rope on a tree limb that was near that area, so you could grab hold of it if you needed to go in after somebody. That was after my 4th time. I was like, can we possibly? So I feel like I've got my karma bank account full at this point. Honestly. Your brain told you you're going to die, but 1 minute later, you're still there. Yeah, that's a strange feeling. It really is. How's George Bailey Sparks? No, George Bailey was the Jimmy Stewart character, wouldn't well, I guess that he dove into the water and then he was, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, he went to save Clarence.
That's right. Clarence was in the water. But anyway, so that's mine. Mine is the 1% kind of mindfulness about what I'm doing. And I have, when I'm doing the show or my regular live stream, or even when I'm prepping for an audition or I'm doing a stand-up show, a lot of it I'm just really good at right out of the gate. Honest to God, it's largely because of good habits. I built up over time a quality of what I'm doing, whatever. And I know, and I think a lot of people know this, that if you just actively put 1% more effort into it, it will be incrementally, better over time by that 1%, but also there will be an enormous change because it stacks on top of itself day to day.
Mm-hmm.
Dan Harris, 10% Happier is the name of the book, somebody said in the chat room. They beat you to it.
No, I put it in there a while ago.
Oh, okay. I just didn't see it. You just didn't tell me. Thanks a lot. You don't want me. Giant doesn't want me to be 10% happier. Yes, that's true. But that's always true. So anyway, so that one is the primary for this year, is that 1%. How can I, 1% more organized at every task, 1% more focused at every moment, 1%, improvement in my guitar, warm-ups, my vocal warm-ups, my, that little bit all the time. So that's this, that's this year for me. Chat room. I know you guys are in there and I love you dearly. Let us know, because I want the happy ending to be us sharing your New Year's resolutions in the final block of the show that is coming up. And let's see. I see Brad. Gotcha. Thank you. You back from, okay. Oh, the internet went out for CSL here because of the high winds here in Vegas. It's nuts here. Has the weather been crazy around you?
It's gonna snow like bonkers later today.
Yeah, it's.
I'm not looking forward to it.
California may be out of its drought just because of the snow from last weekend.
Ding dang.
3 feet in the Tahoe area. Amazing, and there's no signs of stopping. It's going to continue. Same thing was happening in Denver right now. Is the snow and fires and snow. So people, be careful out there. If you can stay on the warm side of a bay window, do your best. And if you know people who can't, help them out. That would be a good idea. Because the worrying about them won't help the way hot cocoa will. I'm just saying. That's, providing, a solution as opposed to worrying about whether someone else will do it is a way healthier way to live your life. We got to take a break. We'll be back right after this. The final block of our first show of January 1st of 2022, a year that can't help but be better in some ways than last year. And on that note, before we get into our happy ending, Betty White, we love you and miss you, and thank you for the joy you brought. I am not going to be sad about the passing of Betty White, because every day we had of her was a gift. 99 years is amazing, and she did not live and die on our time. We're just lucky she was here. So keep that smile, because that's what she'd want for you. We'll be back right after this.